Have you ever said something small to a man and noticed that he suddenly became quiet, not because he was upset, but because the words actually meant something to him? Maybe you said, "I know you're trying," or, "You don't have to handle everything alone," or maybe you simply told him, "I'm proud of you." He might not have given you a long emotional response. He may have just smiled, said thank you, and moved on. But sometimes, the things men appreciate the most are the things they rarely know how to ask for, because many men grow up learning to be useful, to solve problems, to stay strong, and to keep difficult emotions to themselves. So when someone finally makes them feel understood instead of judged, it can mean more than they ever say. When you notice the effort, not just the result. Here's something many people don't realize: a person can become so focused on achievement that they start measuring their own worth by results. Especially when they've spent years being praised for what they accomplish rather than who they are. So imagine he's trying to build something. A career, a business, a healthier life. Maybe he fails. And instead of hearing, "Why didn't you do better?" he hears, "I know how hard you worked for this." That doesn't make failure disappear, but it tells him, "Your effort still matters to me." And sometimes that's exactly what someone needs to hear. When he doesn't have to fix everything, many men learn to respond to problems by looking for solutions. Someone is upset, they try to fix it. Something goes wrong, they try to handle it. But here's the interesting part. Sometimes a man doesn't need another problem to solve. He needs somewhere he can finally put the problem down. To say, "I'm tired, that I don't know what to do. Today was difficult," without feeling like he's failed. So when someone says, "You don't have to fix everything right now," it can create a completely different kind of comfort. Not the comfort of being rescued, but the comfort of knowing he doesn't always have to be the strong one. When you trust him without controlling him. Trust is often misunderstood. It isn't pretending that someone can never make a mistake. It's giving them room to be themselves, without constantly making them prove their loyalty. When someone feels trusted, they often feel safer being honest. And that matters. Because a relationship where every action is questioned can slowly turn into a relationship where people hide things simply to avoid conflict. Healthy trust works differently. It says, "I care about you and I still believe in who you are." That kind of trust can feel deeply reassuring. When you notice who he's becoming. One thing I've noticed about people is that encouragement feels different when it recognizes growth, not just success. Maybe he's trying to become more responsible, trying to control his anger, trying to improve his health, trying to recover after a failure. He may still be far from where he wants to be. But hearing, "I'm proud of the person you're becoming," can remind him that someone sees the progress he can't always see himself. And sometimes being noticed during the process matters more than being celebrated at the finish line. When he can be vulnerable without losing respect. This may be one of the deepest things a relationship can offer. A man shouldn't have to perform strength every single day. He should be able to have moments when he's confused, tired, scared, or simply not okay, and still feel respected. Because emotional safety isn't about agreeing with everything someone does. It's about knowing I can be honest here without being humiliated for it. When that safety exists, people often become more open. Not weaker, more honest. And honesty is where real intimacy begins. When you appreciate his presence. Not just what he does for you. Not the money he spends. Not the problems he solves. Not the things he provides. Just him. Sometimes saying, "I appreciate having you in my life," can mean more than a long compliment. Because it tells someone their value isn't based entirely on what they can provide. Their presence itself matters. And that's something almost everyone wants to feel. But let's be clear. These things don't describe every man. And they certainly don't guarantee loyalty. A man can feel loved, appreciated, trusted, and still make selfish choices. He can have a supportive partner and still choose to lie or cheat. Cheating isn't caused by a partner failing to say the right words. It's a person's own decision and their responsibility. What we're talking about here is what emotionally healthy men may appreciate in a relationship, not a formula for making someone stay. The part people often miss: Mississippi. Not every man wants the same things. Some value words. Some value affection. Some need space. Some feel loved through actions. So these aren't magic sentences that will work on everyone. The deeper point is people feel closest to those who understand them. Instead of asking, "What does a man want?" sometimes ask, "What makes this person feel safe enough to be himself?" That's where real understanding begins. Maybe men don't always say, "I needed to hear that." Sometimes they just smile. Sometimes they become quiet. Sometimes they remember your words months later. And you may never realize how much that small moment meant to them. Because beneath all the expectations to be strong, successful and independent, most people still want the same basic things. To feel seen. To feel respected. To feel appreciated. And to know they don't have to earn love by being perfect. Sometimes the most meaningful thing you can give someone isn't advice. It isn't a solution. It's simply the feeling that they can finally put their guard down and be themselves with you.